Welcome to Global Village today, Global Village Show. We are airing today from JBS Canada Center in Brooks, Alberta. We are very honored to have our first time, my co-host, Mr. Levi Fernell, and we are very honored to have him.
Thank you very much, Ahmed. I appreciate the opportunity, and I'm looking forward to co-hosting with you.
Thank you very much. And my name is Ahmed Kasim, the host of the program. We are very honored also to have the Vice Principal of Eastbrook School, Grasslands in Brooks, Mr. Chris.
Thank you very much for having me.
Welcome to the program. And Kelsey, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
So guys, thank you very much for coming on. So Chris, let's start with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, as Ahmed said, my name's Chris Zottel. I'm the Vice Principal at Eastbrook. This is my 4th year as the Vice Principal there. I've been with Grasslands for actually just over 15 years now. So been in the area for quite some time and have worked with Grasslands as a teacher out in Rolling Hills and then a Vice Principal at Dutchess and now landed at Eastbrook. And like I said, 4 years there and just going strong.
Cool, very cool.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah.
So where do you come from originally?
I was born and raised in Edmonton. That was where I stayed until I got married. My wife and I started traveling through the US with her job. Actually, and then finished my degree down there. I went to school at Southern Utah University to finish my teaching degree. Taught for a year in Utah before moving back here. And funny story, my wife asked me, said, just make sure wherever we move back to in Canada, we get mountains and trees. And I took her to Brooks, Alberta. So
There you go.
Well, there's a few trees and we're not too far out.
that's right.
So when you graduated from Utah, when you come here, you have to change your degree to the
Actually,
Canadian
they
one?
recognized my degree from Utah with no
Okay.
problem. So I'd done kind of half my degree here in Canada still. I'd done some work at the University of Alberta and then some at Concordia College in Edmonton. And then just finished at Southern Utah University and they took it straight across. I had no troubles getting in. They just applied for the Alberta Teachers Association, got to be a part of that union and got to teach right away. So it was really easy.
Okay. Kelsey, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I lived in Belize for a little while, and my favorite color is blue. I love to play soccer, and
Wow. Do you say you were born in Belize?
I was born in Brooks, and we went to Belize, and we lived there for a little while, then we came back.
Oh, so how you like it, Belize?
It's nice, warm.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Better than here?
Mhm.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So how long you been there?
I'm not too sure. Just for a little while, maybe a year or so.
Okay.
Cool. So Chris, can you tell us a little bit about the renovations you guys are doing at Eastbrook?
Sure. Eastbrook's in the middle of a 2-year modernization. Year 1 or phase 1 was building a whole new building just so that we could expand as Brooks continues to expand. The elementary schools are getting bigger and bigger, and so that's going to take us from a 450 student capacity up to a 600 student capacity. So that was completed. That phase was completed at the end of last year, June, at the end of the school year, I guess, in June, and we moved over. So we have 6 new classrooms there as well as all the new office suites. So we're currently occupying that as well as our 2 portables. And then this year in phase 2, they've totally demoed the old core building and they're redoing that completely. You can see the work there. They're redoing the entranceway. It's going to have a beautiful new entrance, big learning commons and library area, 5 classrooms in there as well as 2 big maker spaces. So hopefully, fingers crossed, they tell us it'll be done in February of 2018 and we'll have a brand new building to celebrate with.
Very cool. And the transition so far is going well?
Yeah, it's gone really well. Shando's Construction has been the main contractor in there, and they've done a really good job working with the schools. There have been hiccups along the way, as there are with any project, but overall, I think, and Kelsey can attest to this, I don't think the kids have been impacted very much. We've done a really good job of keeping that part separate. As I said, phase 1 was really simple because they were just building a whole new building, so we just were, as long as we were out of the construction area, it was good. This year is a little bit more difficult just because we're operating in 4 different buildings that aren't really connected. So now that the weather's turned, we have to go outside lots to get to the gym, those types of things. But overall, those are pretty minor. All our classrooms are intact and everything's good for student learning. So
Nice, yeah, and I think it'd probably be worth it once you get that new facility up and
Absolutely. I think it'll be great for Grasslands and it's great for Brooks. And I know that the other two elementary schools, Uplands and Griffin Park, are really bursting at the seams right now. So it is something that is necessary. It's going to give us the room that we need to expand and continue to grow with the community as it continues to grow.
Yeah, that's awesome. You mentioned makerspace. I've been hearing this term more and more. Can you tell me exactly what that is?
Sure. So what we've got set up in there actually is a great big area right now that's going to have some movable glass partition walls, so we can have one giant open area with everything open. We can close it in to make one big classroom, or we can actually make it two smaller classrooms. The makerspace just allows us to start with, it'll be things like just lots of cardboard, building material, stuff like that. It just allows kids to really get that hands-on approach to things, work with things. And so we're kind of working with that and how it's going to go and how we can make that something that the kids can use on a regular basis within the school. So.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. Are you looking forward to that, Kelsey?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Okay, Kelsey. So, what do you have in mind when you grow? Would you like to be a lawyer, doctor? Would you like to be a technician? What do you have in mind?
I'm thinking between a lawyer and a teacher.
Lawyer and a teacher. Wow, why is that?
A teacher would just be really fun to meet new kids and have fun. A lawyer is just lots of paperwork, and I like to do paperwork.
Okay. Defending people also.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is good. So, no, those are very good. What about doctor or technician or any other things?
I couldn't be a doctor because I don't like to see all like the blood and.
I don't blame you. Yeah, that's so. How you like the school?
I like it a lot. It's really fun when we get all the construction done. It's gonna look a lot better. And
You have many friends there?
yeah.
That's very good.
Yeah.
I can tell that.
Do you want to give a shout out to one of your friends?
Hi, Allison.
Very good. That's very good. Yeah. Right.
So I think we got a good example of a student here. I was curious, how do you engage some of the students with maybe shorter attention spans?
Sure. That's a good question because there's lots of, we have all sorts of learning styles within our building and within each classroom, and the teachers have to really work hard on that. So we use a lot of differentiated teaching, trying to really work with kids' strengths and find what they need. Kind of the mantra that the principal and I and the teachers talk about all the time is we find what each kid needs and teach to their need. And so you have to know your kids really well. Building relationships is a huge part of teaching and part of administration, understanding what it is, what those needs are, and then how you can overcome any of those difficulties or problems that you have and work hard with those kids. And of course, involving parents and getting their help with that as well is a big part of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be a follow-up for me is how can parents help out with that?
The number one thing I think that we talk to parents about is reading. If you are reading with your kids at home, that's the best thing you can do. Lots of parents want to look at particular curriculum content, and that can be more difficult and challenging to do at home, as well as the kids can attest to this. It gets kind of boring. They've done that all day. They don't want to do a lot of it. But if you spend time just reading with your kids, whether you are reading to them or letting them read to you, either way works just as well. And then asking questions of them. And that's one of the things that we try to teach our parents is that when you're asking questions, try to get kids predicting about what's going to come in the stories you're looking at, how they reacted, how they felt, as opposed to just, who was the character, what did that character do, right? You want to look for some of that, but if you can get kids predicting and talking about what they think is going to happen next, discussing the book and how it made them feel or how they reacted, those are the types of questions that really get them involved, and those in-depth types of things are what's going to really encourage kids, and I think you'll see the benefits in the class afterward as well.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. I know with my daughter, whenever we're reading, we'll look at the pictures like, oh, I think he's going to do this. Just throw something out there. No, Dad, that's not what is going to happen. And yeah, as far as engagement, like you said, yeah, they're thinking about what's going on, what's going to continue to happen instead of just reading whatever.
Yeah, and I know we get this oftentimes from our parents would have younger kids who say, well, my kid can't read yet, what should I do? And like you said, we call that a book walk when you start looking at the pictures, and I mean, they can see the pictures and start guessing as to, oh, so what do you think's going to happen? There's the little boy with his dog. Why does he look sad? What do you think's happened? And then when you read to them, you can see, oh, did you guess correct? Did you guess wrong? What do you think, you know? And so it doesn't matter what age they are, able to do those book walks and then asking those types of probing questions. And those are all those precursors to the literacy skills. And so that's just as important as when they get to be Kelsey's age and they're actually reading through chapter books independently.
Yeah, and even she said she likes paperwork, which I know is not my experience. And maybe that was because you were engaged while you were reading and you enjoy it. Yeah, that's awesome.
So what other subjects that you like, and what other subjects that you, not your favorite?
Math isn't really my favorite, but I really like gym and science.
Wow.
I really enjoyed science. What part of science do you like?
Chemistry.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Did you ever make one of those volcanoes?
Yeah.
Wow.
I always enjoyed that
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Wow. What about history?
History's okay. Wouldn't be my favorite, but
Yeah?
okay. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. What about geography?
In between, I'd say. Yeah.
Are those your favorite subjects?
Yeah, but yeah, you have to know a little bit about all of them, so that will
Yeah.
help you down the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, not necessary to be your favorite, but something that you might be able to
Yeah.
understand. History is important because then you will know the history back then,
Yeah.
and then that gives you also more ammunition to know the future or predict the future, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and even though you don't see it, I think
Yeah.
they translate. Even though they're different subjects, they all kind of come into the same thing.
Yeah.
So, so Chris, there's always room for improvement. What would you like to see to further your school's ESL program?
So Eastbrook, actually, we're really lucky. We have a lot of things going on as far as ESL. We have a large ESL population with close to half or a little bit over half of our students who actually we receive a little bit of funding for English as a second language. And so that's helped us to put together some stuff. So we currently have a full-time sheltered program. Ryan Berg teaches that. And so that's where those kids who perhaps have come into our school with no English background or very little, get to go and do some intensive out-of-class work with him until they are more comfortable. And so they'll spend some time in their regular class, generally for things like your phys ed class, health, those types of things, so they can get some of the social skills with their peers. But when it comes to the language arts and math, where that vocabulary is too far above them currently, we get them pulled out and working on stuff so that they can increase their English vocabulary. And he's got a couple of ladies who work with him as teaching assistants who do a fabulous job. So that shelter program has really helped. And we also have Rhonda McKenzie working with us, and she came on board last year, and she does the same kind of thing, but she's a little bit more in the classrooms as well. So most of her work is done in the younger grades, the grade 1 and 2, possibly some grade 3s. And she goes right into their classroom, pulls the kids to the back and does a little bit of work, really trying to hit that intensive stuff with those kids at an early age so that by the time they get to be Kelsey's age in grade 6, they're not lagging behind their peers because of a language barrier. We also have a couple of TAs that do some vocabulary-rich work with kids where they do some pull-out programs as well. So we have a lot going on at our younger grades. This year we've gone to a different model because of the structure during our modernization. We're short a couple of classrooms, so where generally we would have had 3 grade 3 classrooms and 3 grade 2 classrooms, what we've done this year is made it 2 classrooms of each, 2 grade 1s, 2 grade 2s, but we've left the same complement of teachers. So we have another full-time teacher who isn't actually sitting in a class with a home room, but are able to do some pull-out and work with kids, so smaller groups. And so using the data we've been able to collect on reading skills and their literacy skills, as well as where their language is at, we're able to make groups and work with those really intensely. And we're really excited by that. We'll collect the data this year, but we're hoping to see a big improvement from our students over the course of the year with this new model. Certainly the schools that we've modeled it after that's what their data has shown. So we're really excited by that. So
Yeah. What are the data points that you're looking for there?
our biggest one, we have two things that we look at. We have what are called the ESL benchmarks. And so the teachers do that with each of their students, and it's a very individual thing looking at, and there's a whole bunch of points that they try to look through, and it gives those kids a score based on how they're doing as far as how many words they seem to know, how they're doing in their classes, those types of things. So they look at all these benchmarks and do that. So that's number one, especially for those kids who aren't reading yet. Everybody within our school and within Grasslands itself has to go through what's called the Fontes and Pinnell Benchmark Assessment. We call it the BAS system. And that's done 2 to 3 times each school year. And that will give us a reading level as to where kids are with their independent reading, so how well they're doing when they're reading by themselves, taking into consideration comprehension and being able to understand what they're reading, as well as what their instructional level is. So most kids will be able to have an instructional level that is higher, so if you're reading to them and asking them questions, they understand more than if they are reading just on their own. And so that way we get an assessment and we get to look at what levels they're at. And then there are some general guidelines as to each grade, what level kids should be at. So if we see kids far below where we expect them to be at, then we know that that's someone that we can pull out and do we have a leveled literacy intervention. It's called our LLI programs. We do response to intervention, which is an RTI program. In education, there's a ton of acronyms. You'll learn that. But it just allows us to pull them out and work with kids individually or in small groups, trying to bring them up closer to where we expect them to be with their peers.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So with the new facility, are there new technologies and stuff that you guys are bringing in order to help you with those things?
It's more about the programs and the technologies. We have we have the smart boards. There are things we can do that do pull technology in, and technology plays a big role in education, but it's far more about what you're actually presenting to the kids. You know, a smart board is only as good as the person using it. In lots of classrooms, they just become a big projection screen, and so it's not being used effectively for educational purposes. So it's getting training for our teachers, making sure they understand how to use the technologies that are available, but it's more about the content and what we're able to give the kids, and that's where I think you're getting your real bang for your buck.
Yeah, but just Chris, also to follow up with Levi, would you have that all resource to make that happen then?
Oh, absolutely. And education is always going to talk about funding, and everything you want to do relies on getting some more funding, right? But I think Grasslands does a very, very good job of putting together funding for all the schools, and something that's, so particularly I look at the 3 elementary schools in Brooks, trying to keep things so that kids who go to Eastbrook have the same advantages that they would have if they were going to Griffin Park, right? Your community school provides everything that you need. And so we do have lots of things in place. Grasslands has a literacy lead who is there available for all schools. We have numeracy leads who are available for all schools. We have people who come in and help us with innovation and technology, curriculum and design, those types of things. And then lots of professional development for our teachers and for administration themselves.
Grassland is doing a great job in terms of that one. But also from the provincial government, I had a meeting with Honorable Dave Egan, who is the Minister of Education. And one of the things that at the meeting we encourage him is to invest in the new generation. Education is most important for this generation. And if Alberta, if we wanted to compete with international and national, I think we need to invest in the younger generation, especially the education. And he was very supportive, and he was a very productive meeting, and a lot of things that can be supported through Grasslands, and not only Grasslands, also Catholic and other districts. But he's very supportive of the programs that Grasslands is doing and intend to support. But the question is, how do you see a diverse population like the one we have in Brooks? What do you think the advantages are, in your own opinion? Well,
for me, growing up in Edmonton, I grew up in a very insular community. And then, like I said, I did my first teaching in Utah, which was very, very, it was a large Mormon population and very, very insular. So not a lot of cultural diversity. So coming to Brooks was very eye-opening for me. But I think our students are getting the best of everything because of that. I think, I mean, we live in a global economy
Yeah.
with technology now, with the internet. Kids are exposed to everything across the entire world when we have lots of that right here to see all the different kids that we have in our school, the cultures that are present. And, you know, I think that's the advantages they're getting that I didn't have growing up are huge. So I love it. And I think Eastbrook is one of the most culturally diverse schools within Brooks.
Yeah.
We have a large diverse population, and I think it's really, really wonderful. That's one of the things we love about it, and one of the things that the principal and I have really tried to push is to continue to grow that. We really want it to be a community school, not just a place where parents send their kids, but where they feel it is a sense of community, where they feel welcome, they know they can come in. We do lots of work with families whenever we can to help out, especially when they're new to Canada, not sure of, you know, we get families now who have never been in a formal educational system whatsoever. And so that can be rather scary and daunting for them. So we do lots of work with that. We involve the Swiss workers, Nazra and Jin, who come in and do lots of work in our building through interpretation, making sure parents understand what's going on, what is available, what they can access. And so we're trying to do all that. And I think as we move forward with our new building, we'd like to try to encourage even more of that.
No, that's good. I think diverse is strength of the community. The last is Stats Canada, I believe 2016. Edmonton has 37% of visible minorities. Compared to Brooks, which is 14,000 population, if you want to believe it, has 37% visible minorities. So that you can see the Edmonton, which has about 1.4, 1.3 million population. If you say 37%, you won't even. That is a minimum because you won't feel it 1.4 million. But 14,000 population with 37%, that's huge.
Yeah.
And I think and you guys are doing a great job. And I think it's only not only for the teachers or principals or grasslands. I think the community as a whole, the parents have a stake to support the education of their child. They have to get involved in the education of the child, and they have to be out of this background that they come. But they have to involve the education of the kid, because only the teachers can only do so much, the principals can do so much, but the house have to also be jumping on the blade and doing what they can from that side as well.
Absolutely. One of the things that we've seen change in education from perhaps when I was growing up, from the rest of us, is it really was a lot about, you just send your kids to school, the teachers teach them the ABCs, and then they come home. Schools are a lot more than that now, and we're hoping to have a lot more parent involvement. I think we encourage parents to come in. We want to have their support. We want them in the building. We want to be hearing from them, because there's a lot more things that we're relied to teach their kids now. It's hard. I mean, we have a lot of parents who are both working, and it's hard for them. They're not home as much as they'd like to be. I mean, I grew up in an era where my mom stayed home full time. That's just not possible for a lot of our families. And so the schools are being relied upon to do more things, and in turn we're asking the parents to become more involved, and we welcome their insights and the things that they would like to bring forward, which is why we encourage it, especially at our school. I mean, we're encouraging our parents to get involved in our parent council as much as possible. We'd like to see all of our parents out when we have parent council meetings, because that's where they get their voice and their chance to talk to the teachers and the administration about the things that they see that are going well, that they're pleased with, as well as the things that they would like to see change, because we know that there's always opportunities for change.
There you go.
Yeah. I think it's very important, to give the parents a voice, and it's interesting that you've set up a format to allow them to do that. I've got a question for Kelsey. If you could be any animal, what animal would you be?
That's a tough one.
That's tough.
Maybe a hyena,
A hyena.
just 'cause they're sneaky. So I can just sneak up on some people or something.
Cool. Yeah. That is a cool one. Is that one of your favorite animals? Yeah.
Wow, that's good.
So, Chris, I just want to say what you were talking about before. I think like that's fantastic, and I think what you're talking about, like even though 37%, but it's not just 37% of one language either. You have so many different languages and cultures, and it would be a very difficult job that you guys have to do. And I'm glad that you're doing the best that you can. I'm glad to hear that you have all kinds of ideas and programs, and also are looking for engagement from the households and stuff to carry that stuff forward. I think that's fantastic.
No, that's true, Levi. I think having different languages, over 100 different languages in Brooks alone, plus different culture, I think makes also a little bit sometimes stress to the teacher, stress to the principal and vice principal and everyone in the area. But you guys are doing a good job, and we hope that you'd continue, and we wish the new building, when it's done, to come and visit. And if you like to give a message to the students, what would you like to say?
Sorry, what's that?
What would you like to say if you want to say a few things to the students that are watching the program?
Oh, to students watching the program. Gee, that's always good, right?
Yeah.
I just say, I think as you've said, Ahmed, education is the cornerstone of your future. So I think buy in. I know that for lots of kids, school can be stressful. Go to your teachers, ask for the help, find ways to get through when you're struggling. Everyone is in the buildings there, all across Grasslands, and as you said, even with the Catholic school here in town, the French school that's here, they're all about helping kids. That's why we do what we do. So don't be afraid to ask for that help. And whether it is, for some people, book learning is not the end-all and be-all, and schools are trying to do a little bit more of the hands-on and do that. But whatever you're doing in life, whether you go off to a university and continue on that way, whether you go to a technical school, just further yourself. Become one of the things we preach to our staff and is preached to us from our district level is just to become lifelong learners. That's how you will get ahead in this world, and that's how you will succeed. So
that's well said. What about you? You want to say a few things?
No, I think I'm good.
There you go. That's okay. Yeah.
Well, Ahmed, I don't know. I don't have any further questions, and I appreciate it very much for you allowing me to come on. I appreciate it, Chris, you coming on, as well you, Kelsey. It was very enjoyable talking to you, and hopefully I'll be seeing you in the future.
Thank you very much, Chris,
Thank you
for
very
coming
much,
to the
Ahmed.
program. Thank you very much, Kelsey.
thank you, Levi.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is the end of Global Village for today. This is Ahmed Kasim. This is where the East meets the West. This is your host, Ahmed Kasim, and here is my co-host, Mr. Levi.
Thank you very much.
Have a good one, and God bless you, everyone.
See ya.